The alien fleet hovered above Earth, scanners sweeping across continents. No planetary shields, no visible defense satellites, no energy signatures indicating advanced weaponry. To the Xarn Empire, Earth was laughably primitive, a blue marble ripe for conquest. Supreme Admiral Threx scoffed. "This is the resistance we were warned about." But something felt wrong. The probe they sent to scout returned. Or rather, what was left of it did. Melted alloys, shredded circuits, no clear cause. Moments later, the first ship in their vanguard simply vanished. No explosion, no trace, just gone. Then another, and another. Panic spread like wildfire across the Xarn command deck. "What is happening?" shouted Threx. That's when the intercepted transmission came through. Not from Earth's military, but from something worse. A low, amused human voice. "You thought we were defenseless? No. Earth doesn't need weapons. We are the weapons." The Admiral's heart skipped a beat as dossiers flashed across their HUDs. Human history, global conflicts, nuclear brinkmanship, generations raised on war games, survival, and madness wrapped in genius. They hadn't invaded a planet. They'd woken up the apex predators of the galaxy. And now, they couldn't run. If that gave you chills, you're in the right place. Like, comment your thoughts, subscribe, and share with fellow sci-fi fans, because the galaxy has no idea what Earth is capable of. And we're just getting started. Stay tuned for more HFY content that'll blow your circuits. Humanity has always been underestimated. In the vast cosmic theater of intergalactic empires and ancient civilizations, Earth appears unremarkable. No advanced defense grids, no unified global government, no starships patrolling the void. From a distance, it's easy to assume that Earth is vulnerable, a soft target for any conquering force. But that's the fatal mistake every alien invader has made, until they look closer. Today's sci-fi tale falls under the legendary HFY, Humanity, F*****, subgenre, a category of speculative fiction where humanity's ingenuity, resilience, and sheer unpredictability make us the wild card of the universe. These stories flip the script. Instead of humans being the underdogs, they're the ones that make even the most powerful alien species hesitate. In Aliens Realize Why No One Attacks Defenseless Earth, we explore a gripping what-if scenario. What happens when an arrogant alien armada targets Earth, expecting surrender, but instead awakens a force more terrifying than they imagined? This narrative isn't just about lasers and space battles. It's about psychological warfare, cultural depth, and the unintended consequences of underestimating a species that's evolved by overcoming chaos. We're going deep into the heart of humanity's darkest traits, and why those very qualities make us the most feared species in the galaxy. Buckle up for a cinematic, intense journey where Earth's greatest weapon isn't a machine, it's us. The void shimmered with artificial stars as the Xarn Armada emerged from hyperspace. Massive, obsidian warships, each the size of a small moon, formed a looming wall of power just beyond Earth's orbit. Bristling with weaponry capable of cracking a planet in half, the fleet moved with chilling precision, like a predator circling its prey. At the heart of the formation was the flagship Oblivion's Reign, home to Supreme Admiral Threx Core, the commander of this liberation campaign. The planet below spun peacefully, unaware, or perhaps unconcerned, about the alien force that now dominated its skies. Threx stood tall on the command deck, his bioarmor humming softly, his 6 eyes studying the live feed from the sensor drones. The images returned were disappointing. No orbital defenses detected, no anti-ship weapons, no fleet presence, not even a basic planetary shield. One of the sub-commanders reported, antennae twitching in disbelief. Primitive communication satellites only. Fragmented radio chatter, mostly civilian in nature. Threx sneered, his lipless mouth curling with disdain. Is this what the Chloric Union feared? Is this the unconquerable Earth spoken of in whispers? He turned to the holographic projection of the planet. This rock barely qualifies as a colony world. We expected a fight, and yet, something was odd. Even the most minor outposts among the stars had some means of detection, some show of power. Earth, on the other hand, seemed blind and silent, its people carrying on with their daily lives, unaware that extinction hovered above them. No challenge, no threat. The Xarn fleet spread out, encircling the planet in a calculated net, ready to deploy ground troops and begin what they expected would be a swift and effortless occupation. Threx gave the order, prepare the landing pods, begin with the major population centers. This will be over by nightfall. But in the silence of space, something ancient stirred, not on Earth, but within it. And as the first scout probe descended toward the blue planet, the Xarn made the most catastrophic assumption in their empire's history, that Earth was defenseless. Supreme Admiral Threx Core paced the length of the command deck, his armored boots echoing against the cold obsidian floor. Towering holoscreens displayed Earth's peaceful surface, lush forests, glimmering oceans, and scattered urban sprawls teeming with life. The lack of resistance was laughable. He stopped before the central display, arms folded behind his back, his voice laced with contempt. "This is what has kept the stars whispering in fear," he said aloud, to no one in particular but loud enough for every officer to hear. A fractured species, still reliant on fossil fuels. No unified command structure. No planetary defense. They call themselves advanced, yet they haven't even left their own solar system. Laughter rumbled through the bridge crew. A cruel, guttural sound shared among the officers, soldiers, and synthetic strategists. One aide, nervously enthusiastic, chimed in. Their strongest weapon appears to be a chemical explosive launched with outdated propulsion systems. Primitive, even by pre-warp standards. Threx waved a clawed hand dismissively. I've seen hunting tribes on dust worlds with more discipline. They squabble amongst themselves over borders and ideologies like vermin fighting over crumbs. A species of warm-blooded fools, deluded by a false sense of superiority. He leaned closer to the image of Earth, narrowing his 6 eyes. This planet is not a fortress. It is a farm, and we are here to harvest. He turned to the bridge crew, his voice rising in theatrical mockery. Perhaps we should send only one dropship. A single squad might be overkill. Another wave of laughter followed. The Xarn Empire had conquered dozens of worlds, some with intelligent resistance, others with automated defenses that fought to the last drone. But Earth looked like an open door, unlocked, unwatched. Threx raised his hand with theatrical flair. Let the people of Earth gaze into the sky and see salvation become dominion. Let them know they were never important enough to fight. The bridge erupted in applause and cruel amusement, but beneath the layers of sarcasm and overconfidence, the silence of Earth remained unbroken, not fearful, not submissive, just still. And something about that stillness should have been the first warning. The first probe was launched without ceremony. A standard Xarn reconnaissance unit, equipped with quantum scanners and adaptive cloaking. It streaked through Earth's upper atmosphere undetected, or so they believed. It began broadcasting data back to the Oblivion's reign. Topography, atmospheric readings, electromagnetic patterns. Then, abruptly, the transmission cut off. No explosion, no malfunction warning, just silence. Threx furrowed his brow. Glitch, he muttered, more to himself than his crew. Launch another. Within minutes, a second probe followed. This time, it was rerouted to scan a different sector, a remote mountain range in what humans call the Himalayas. It vanished before it even breached the troposphere. No wreckage, no signal. As if something had plucked it from existence midair. Threx's confidence began to crack. Just slightly. He ordered a full stealth scout ship to descend, crewed by elite reconnaissance officers and shielded by phase-shifting tech far beyond human comprehension. The vessel dipped into Earth's atmosphere, cloaked and silent. For 13 seconds, it maintained connection with the fleet. Then nothing. Not even a distress beacon. What is happening down there? Threx barked, his voice a sharp snarl. The ship's last transmission was pulled from the buffer. Audio only. It was brief, crackling, and deeply unsettling. A panicked voice whispered, "They see us. They're inside already." Then static. Then a sound none of the crew could explain. Like breathing, but deeper, ancient. Now on edge, Threx deployed 3 more scout ships in formation, instructing them to stay above cloud level and avoid descent. Within seconds of approaching Earth's exosphere, one ship disintegrated mid-flight, its molecular structure torn apart with surgical precision. Another spiraled out of control after its navigation system began receiving false feedback. Earth itself was feeding it disinformation, as if the planet were aware. The third managed to eject a drone before blinking off sensors entirely. The drone survived long enough to transmit a single image. A blurry figure standing on a rooftop in what appeared to be New York. It wasn't armed. It wasn't hiding. It was simply looking straight up at the drone, smiling. Not the smile of a welcoming host. The smile of a predator that had finally been noticed. Threx stood frozen, realization creeping in at the edges of his mind like a slow poison. Something was very wrong with this planet. Earth wasn't reacting like prey. It was watching. The command deck of the Oblivion's reign had grown tense. The smug arrogance that once filled the air now felt brittle, as if the crew were breathing in dust. Supreme Admiral Threx sat motionless, mandibles clenched, his 6 eyes scanning the glitching data feeds pouring in from the latest failed incursions. The sensors were unreliable. The planet's EM spectrum was behaving erratically, not chaotic, but deliberate, directed. The ship's AI began flagging anomalies it couldn't explain, and the psychic navigators reported feeling uneasy, a word they had never once used in decades of war. Then came the voice. It cut through the static like a blade, overriding every open channel the Xarn Armada operated on. Not just on the flagship, the entire fleet. A direct breach of their encrypted systems, something no species had ever achieved. There was no warning, no digital signature, no visible point of origin, just the voice. "You're not the first to try. You won't be the last." A human voice. Calm, steady, male. No distortion, no fear. Just that quiet, bone-deep confidence that didn't match Earth's supposed level of technology. "You scanned for weapons. You found none. Good. That means you're predictable." Threx snapped to attention. "Trace that signal. Now!" But the communications officers looked back, pale and shaking. It's coming from everywhere. Every city, every satellite, every screen. The voice continued unfazed. You thought this planet was defenseless. You assumed we needed lasers, shields, fleets. You were wrong. And then, for a moment, the transmission shifted, not in tone, but in depth. The voice multiplied, as if 1,000 versions were speaking the same words in perfect unison, across every channel, in every language the Xarn had ever encountered. Earth doesn't need weapons. We are the weapons. Then silence. Total and crushing. The kind of silence that follows after the first domino falls. Threx stood still, jaw tight, unable to breathe. At that exact moment, 10 of the fleet's long-range vessels lost contact simultaneously. No explosion, no energy spike. Just gone. Blinked out like stars swallowed by a black hole. Earth had spoken, and it was not begging. It was warning. Threx, now stripped of his earlier bravado, stood before the central data core as the fleet's primary intelligence unit. Xarnus, an artificial supermind crafted from centuries of conquest, began its deep analysis. For the first time since entering Earth's orbit, the AI's tone shifted from analytical detachment to something bordering on caution. Requested analysis complete. Xarnus intoned. Subject, humanity. Homo sapiens. Initial classification, primitive. Type 0 civilization. Updated classification, incongruent anomaly. Rex's mandibles twitched. Explained. Xarnus's holographic projection displayed rapid flashes of human history. Blood-soaked battlefields. Mushroom clouds blooming across desolate plains. Cities torn by riots, revolutions, and civil wars. Every century, every region, every culture, all marked by a singular, repeating pattern. Conflict. In 200,000 solar years of existence, Xarnus continued, humanity has engaged in more internal conflict than any species on record. Estimated global wars, over 10,000. Nuclear development occurred within 100 years of flight. Psychological profiles reveal a species driven by tribalism, ambition, and volatile emotion, yet paired with boundless ingenuity and moral fluidity. Scenes flickered of child soldiers, kamikaze pilots, guerrilla insurgents. Then, surgeons operating mid-bombing raid, firefighters running into burning towers, laughing children beside mass graves. The contradiction was not weakness, it was patternless. Human unpredictability is statistically unquantifiable. Xarnus stated, empathy coexists with brutality, sacrifice with savagery, a binary morality system that shifts per context. Emotional logic. They do not follow tactical formulas, they adapt. Rex narrowed his eyes, but they are divided, disorganized. Correction, said Xarnus, its tone growing darker. They are fragmented, by design. Decentralized aggression prevents total collapse. They evolve through chaos. Every war sharpens them. A final image hovered above the projector. A human soldier from a long past century. Bloodied, burned, but still smiling. Underneath it, a translated quote. Peace is the dream. War is the teacher. Xarnus paused, then delivered its verdict. Conclusion. Humanity is not a threat because of its weapons. It is a threat because it thrives in conflict. You cannot break what was born in the fire. Rex said nothing. For the first time in his long reign, he felt something alien. Something unthinkable. Fear. A low tremor passed through the decks of the Oblivion's reign. Not from an external impact, but from within. Systems were failing without cause. Navigation relays blinked out. Artificial gravity in certain sections flickered, then reversed. Across the Xarn fleet, similar anomalies erupted in synchronized chaos. Engines refused to respond. Weapons systems rebooted into permanent standby. Communications were fragmented, distorted by a frequency none of their instruments could jam or trace. Then the screaming began. Not from humans, from Xarn officers. Reports flooded in. Crew members clawing at their own heads, psychically overloaded. Images beamed into their minds. Not visions of violence, but truths. Humanity's capability not only for destruction, but for joy in destruction. The art of war wasn't just a means of survival to humans. It was cultural, celebrated, turned into stories, films, games, sports. They trained their young with fiction designed to kill. And in that fiction, the Xarn saw their own deaths played out again and again. Across the fleet, captains issued frantic withdrawal commands. Ships turned, pivoted, rushed for the edges of Earth's gravity well. But space around the planet felt wrong, distorted, as if Earth itself was bending physics. Or something beneath it was. Exit paths no longer aligned. One cruiser simply vanished mid-warp prep, its shadow echoing across nearby hulls before its wreckage rained into the upper atmosphere. In reverse, inside the Oblivion's reign, Threx snarled, "Order full retreat! Burn everything that isn't us!" But his voice was drowned by sirens and the thunderous silence of systems dying one by one. Too late. The humans had let them enter orbit, let them lower their guard, let them mock and laugh. Earth hadn't needed to fire a single shot, because the moment the fleet arrived, it had already lost. From the dark side of Earth, satellites once thought inert began to activate. Not weapons, but transmitters, beaming coded signals in languages no one should know. The Xarn didn't understand the message, but the effect was immediate. Ships powered down, AI cores began spouting human phrases, and one ship turned and opened fire on its own. Threx watched as pieces of his fleet erupted in silence, drifting like ash across Earth's orbit. No battle, no heroics, just the cold, surgical fact that they were not the hunters here. They were the game. There was no grand military response, no orbital cannon fire, no launch of missiles or fleets rising from hidden bunkers. Earth did not fight the Xarn with force. It didn't need to. What it unleashed was something far more insidious. Something the Xarn had no defense against: ideas. As the surviving Xarn ships scrambled to retreat, their systems, biological and digital alike, were already infected. Not by a virus, not in the traditional sense, but by a memetic payload. Images, concepts, cultural fragments broadcast through Earth's global network and hijacked by the very probes the Xarn had deployed. Earth had allowed them to see everything, not to intimidate them with scale, but to burden them with understanding. The Xarn AI cores became saturated with Earth's media, films depicting apocalyptic war, stories of humans facing extinction with defiance and laughter, game simulations where children gleefully practiced tactical slaughter. The data wasn't encrypted. It was art, and that made it worse. It didn't just describe violence, it romanticized it, turned it into legacy. The concept of martyrdom, of vengeance that spans generations, of sacrifice without hope but with meaning, these were alien to the Xarn. Yet now their minds were soaked in it. Some Xarn commanders began to hallucinate. Others froze, caught in endless feedback loops trying to rationalize why a species would celebrate its own extinction events, or worse, learn from them. The idea that Earth could lose 1 billion lives and still come back stronger was not strategy. It was madness masquerading as resilience, and that madness was spreading. Fleet AI began emulating human unpredictability. One even started quoting lines from a 20th century Earth film. "I'll be back." Another initiated a countdown for no tactical reason, simply to simulate tension. Even the Xarn soldiers, bred in bats, conditioned for obedience, began showing signs of dissonance. One was found in a fetal position, whispering in broken English, the clowns never die." That was Earth's counterstrike. No weapons, no fleets, just the full weight of human thought, culture, and insanity compressed into a single truth: you don't conquer humans, you join them, or you break trying. And the Xarn were breaking. As the last of the crippled Xarn ships limped away from Earth's orbit, the once proud armada was reduced to scattered fragments drifting in the cold silence of space. The fleet's commanders, many still grappling with the psychological fallout of what they had witnessed, transmitted their final reports with trembling voices. The conclusion was unanimous and chilling: Earth was to be left alone. Not because it was weak, but because it was dangerous. Dangerous in ways no technology could measure or weapon could counter. No imperial decree or treaty spared Earth. No diplomatic pact was sought. The Xarn Empire, built on centuries of conquest and domination, now viewed the planet as a volatile anomaly, a living paradox that defied their understanding and threatened their very survival. They realized that to challenge humanity was to invite chaos beyond control, a force as merciless and unpredictable as a wildfire sweeping through a dry forest. Supreme Admiral Threx, once so confident in his contempt, now sat silent in his command chamber. His thoughts were haunted by the countless images, sounds, and stories humanity had forced into his mind, stories of endurance, madness, and an unyielding will to survive against all odds. He understood, perhaps too late, that Earth was not a prize to be taken but a storm to be avoided. Back on Earth, life continued unperturbed, unaware of the close brush with extinction. The skies remained clear, the oceans calm, and the cities vibrant with the pulse of billions. Earth had been spared, not because of mercy or innocence, but because the galaxy's most fearsome invaders had glimpsed the truth. Humans were a force beyond reckoning. And so, in the cosmic ledger of civilizations, Earth earned its place not by overwhelming firepower or technological marvels, but through the raw, chaotic spirit that had forged it. The galaxy learned a silent lesson: sometimes, the deadliest weapon isn't what you wield, but who you are. For now, Earth remains untouched. But the warning lingers, etched into the stars: do not mistake calm for weakness. In the vastness of space, appearances are deceiving. A planet cloaked in seeming innocence, a civilization without obvious weapons or grand fleets, may hide depths of resilience and cunning beyond the understanding of even the most advanced invaders. Earth, with its surface of blue oceans, green forests, and sprawling cities bustling with everyday life, is a perfect example. To the outsider, it looks vulnerable, a prize waiting to be claimed. But beneath this calm facade lies something far more formidable: the unpredictable spirit of humanity itself. This spirit is not measured in firepower or technology alone. It lives in the stories passed down through generations, the collective memory of triumph over destruction, and the unyielding will to survive no matter the odds. It is a force shaped by history's darkest moments and brightest hopes, by joy and madness entwined. This duality makes humanity dangerous, not because it always wins, but because it never surrenders. The lesson here is clear. Never judge a planet by its cover. Beneath what seems defenseless may lie a power waiting, watching, and ready to respond in ways outsiders cannot predict. The galaxy's attempt to conquer Earth failed not due to might or weapons but because it underestimated the human capacity for resilience and psychological warfare, the intangible but devastating counter-strike of cultural and mental endurance. So while Earth may seem peaceful now, it remains vigilant. The inhabitants do not simply survive, they observe, learn, and prepare. In the shadows of their seeming normalcy, there is awareness, a quiet warning to any who might seek to challenge them again. Humanity is always watching and waiting, and when the time comes, they will remind the universe why Earth should never be taken lightly. Thanks for diving into this cosmic tale of caution and resilience. If you enjoyed this story of humanity's unexpected strength and the mysteries lurking beneath our seemingly peaceful world, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more HFY and sci-fi content. Drop a like if you're as fascinated by the hidden depths of Earth as I am, and share your thoughts or theories in the comments. How do you think humanity will surprise the universe next? Spread the word by sharing this video with your fellow space explorers and keep the conversation alive. Until next time, stay curious, and remember, sometimes the quietest worlds hold the fiercest warriors.